Hare Krishna. Let us understand Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter, section by section. To begin with, let us offer our prayers to our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and to the Supreme Lord. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrandam Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today, let us understand chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. In the first section, there are 10 shlokas, and this section is entitled Arjuna's Confusion and Submission. So to begin with, Sanjaya, he speaks, he is narrating the whole thing to Dhritarashtra. So this chapter begins with Sanjaya. Sanjaya Vacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishvam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion and very sorrowful, his eyes brimming with tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. So Sanjaya is telling Madhusudana spoke the following words. So Krishna is addressed as Madhusudana because he killed a demon by the name Madhu. So Arjuna was overcome by compassion and he was lamenting for the death of his relatives and the entire army which was assembled. He foresaw that if there was fight, they all will die. Arjuna wanted Krishna to destroy this demon of misunderstanding that had overcome him because of ignorance. So looking at Arjuna's situation, Lord Krishna spoke, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. The Supreme Person, Bhagavan, said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. They do not lead to higher planets but to infamy. So looking at Arjuna, Krishna was surprised because Arjuna was belonging to a royal family, royal Kshatriya family, and he was speaking in such a way that he was not willing to fight and he just sat down in the midst of the battlefield between both the armies. Just before the war begins, Arjuna is now refusing to fight. This was not at all befitting Arjuna as a Kshatriya. So Krishna is telling, Kutastva Kashmalamidam, how have these impurities come upon you? Vishame Samupastitam. And then in this situation, it is not befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. Anarya Jushtam. Aryan means one who knows the value of life. It's called Arya. The value of life is one has to progress spiritually and achieve ultimate success of returning back home, back to Godhead. So the entire human society is divided accordingly and to the 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, which Krishna will be describing in this Bhagavad Gita in the later chapters. So Arjuna belonged to the Kshatriya Varna and he was speaking in this way. So
Krishna did not expect Arjuna to behave in this way, so he is telling this such a behavior will not lead to higher planets. Anadya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna, but it leads to infamy. Krishna is telling, don't think that people will appreciate you, that out of compassion you left the battle and then you gave the kingdom to them. Don't think like that, but people will criticize you that you just ran away. So Krishna did not expect such a behavior of Arjuna. And then further Krishna says, Klaivyam masmagamah partha naitatvayupapadyate Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva tishtha parantapa. O son of Partha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So here Krishna did not appreciate Arjuna's various reasons which he gave. Destruction of the family heritage, women will become widows and they will be exploited by men. Because of such exploitation there will be Varna Sankara population. Like that. And then because of Varna Sankara population there will be hellish situation created and all welfare activities will be devastated. Like that, Arjuna gave many reasons for not fighting. But Krishna did not appreciate all those things. Krishna is telling, do not yield to this degrading importance, give up such petty weakness of heart and arise. Because it was a duty of Kshatriya to fight when it was required. So it was a right cause for Arjuna to fight because it was a religious war. To Dhritarashtra, he was irreligious. He was wanting to kill Pandavas and unnecessarily usurp their property and their rightful claim over the kingdom and give it to Duryodhana, who was not at all religious. It is the duty of a king to represent the Supreme Lord, to conduct his kingdom, his daily affairs in such a way that every citizen is given proper protection and encouragement and support for spiritual advancement so that he becomes a true lover of Krishna. But Dhritarashtra and his sons were spiritually blind. They did not like Krishna. They did not want to surrender to Krishna. They were against Krishna. They were against Pandavas who were devotees of Krishna. So it was a religious war. Arjuna had to fight a religious war as a Kshatriya because it is the duty of Kshatriya to maintain religion, to maintain peace and prosperity in the kingdom. And when the rulers themselves are irreligious, it is the duty of a true Kshatriya to fight and kill them. So Krishna did not appreciate Arjuna's behavior. So when Krishna spoke in this way, Arjuna said, Arjuna vacha katham bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyotsiyami pujarha varisudana. Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna, how can I counter-attack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? In reply to Krishna, Arjuna is telling Madhusudana. Again Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Madhusudana. Madhusudana means you have killed many demons. You have not killed your friends and relatives. How can you expect me to kill my friends and relatives? They are not enemies. They are all elderly people like Bhishma and Drona. They are all respectable people worthy of worship. How do you expect me to kill my teacher Drona, to kill my grandfather Bhishma? Have you killed your grandfather? Have you killed your spiritual master? Have you killed your guru? So indirectly Arjuna is giving back reply to Krishna that don't expect me to kill such worshipable people. Maybe they are on the wrong side, but they are worthy of worship. They are respectable people. Actually, if someone supports irreligion, immediately his respect comes down and he need not be followed. So here Bhishma and Drona, they were supporting Duryodhana and hence they were on the wrong side, and Arjuna did not have considered that they did not be killed, they are worthy of worshipping because they were supporting irreligion. So those who support irreligion, they have to be punished. They may be superiors in terms of bodily relationships, but on the absolute platform, one should always fight for the right cause. Whoever may be the enemy, he has to, a true Kshatriya has to be ready to fight. Then further Arjuna is telling, Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum dhaikshamapi haloke hatvartha kamamstu guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. Arjuna is telling, it is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though they are avaricious, they are nonetheless superiors. If they are killed, our spoils will be tainted with blood. So we can see Arjuna, how much he valued his relationship with his grandfather and his teacher. He is telling, it is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls. So it is a moral etiquette that one should not give even a verbal fight to superiors like father, mother, teacher, because they are respectable people. So Arjuna was highly cultured and he did not want to kill such respectable people. Further Arjuna says, Na chaitad vidmah kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeyo yaneva hatva na jijivishamaha teva sthita pramukhe dhartarashra. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dhritarashtra, whom if we killed, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. So Arjuna is again expressing his confusion, because even if they win the kingdom, all his cousins and brothers, they all would have died, and how can one live happily without friends and relatives? In one sense, that is again a defeat for them, because there is no pleasure without any friends and relatives. So this is typical material calculation. To lead a happy material life, people first of all want to settle down in their families, they want to earn wealth and have good home, and once they have money, they invite people and organize various functions, anniversaries, birthdays and wedding anniversaries, many such functions, and invite people and show their opulence. In this way people want to enjoy. So Arjuna is indirectly telling, if all of them die, then where is happiness for us? So Arjuna again, he didn't want to fight. Further Arjuna says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yashreyasya nishchitam brohitan me shishyaste ham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So here clearly Arjuna is now confused whether to fight and kill them and gain victory and to get the kingdom back, or leave the kingdom to them and live by begging. He is thoroughly confused. So Arjuna is telling, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha. He has this dosha called Karpanya dosha. Karpanya dosha means miserly weakness. Even though he was the world famous archer, he was having all the abilities, he had divine weapons to fight with the opposite side. In spite of having all these good qualifications, when the right time came, he was unable to use it. Therefore it is called Kripanata, miserly weakness. A miser is a person who, in spite of having lots of wealth, he doesn't have that heart to use that wealth even for his own livelihood. He keeps all the money in the bank and he himself wears some torn clothes and he doesn't eat properly, doesn't have a good house for himself. So that is called Kripanata. He is not having that heart to use the wealth what he has. Similarly, Arjuna, he had all the abilities to fight, all the divine weapons he had, all the blessings he had. But when the time came to fight, because of that miserly weakness, he is unable to use those talents and skills and those divine weapons. So he's telling, I am now confused. Prichami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. My heart is completely covered due to ignorance. Now you instruct me. Yat shreyaha, what is really good for me, you tell. Nishchitam bruhitam me. I am confused what is right, what is wrong. Now instead of we discussing on an equal level as cousins, I will become your disciple, you become my spiritual master and you guide. So the relationship between spiritual master and disciple is different. Relationship between a cousin and cousin is different. The relationship between a spiritual master and a disciple is very grave. Once we accept someone as a spiritual master, one has to abide by his instructions. There is no question of refusing to follow the instructions of a spiritual master. So now Arjuna is submitting himself to Krishna that now I will become your Shishya. Nishchitam bruhitan me Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. You instruct me, I will surrender to you. Surrender means I am ready to follow whatever you say. That is called complete surrender. So Arjuna has now surrendered himself to Krishna and is now willing to follow Krishna's advice. And he has accepted Krishna as the spiritual master. So we have to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Krishna was directly present in front of Arjuna. So Arjuna directly surrendered himself to Krishna and he wanted to be guided by him. So now one may question, where is Krishna? How can I surrender to Krishna? So if we can surrender to Krishna by surrendering to Krishna's representative. So Krishna has his representatives, his disciples. Originally Krishna instructed this knowledge to 4 disciples, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Mother Lakshmi and Brahma's 4 sons, the Sanat Kumaras. From these 4 disciples, there are 4 paramparas which exist in this world distributing the true knowledge of Krishna. From Brahma the message goes to his son Narada Muni. From Narada Muni it goes to Veda Vyasa. From Veda Vyasa to Madhvacharya. In this disciplic succession, again Lord Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis. In this way it comes to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is a representative of Krishna teaching the original message of Krishna. So this is the Bhagavad Gita which Srila Prabhupada has commented upon. The original meanings what Krishna had given, that is available in this book. So we can accept Srila Prabhupada as our spiritual master and surrender to him and follow his directions. In this way we can advance spiritually. Srila Prabhupada has given all the guidance needed to be practiced in this age of Kali Yuga and make spiritual advancement. So just like Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and was willing to follow Krishna's instructions, we have to surrender to Srila Prabhupada, who is the Guru in the Parampara, and follow his instructions. So Arjuna has now surrendered to Krishna, and then Arjuna further says, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yachhokamuchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumavasapatnam riddham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like that of the demigods in heaven. So we can see, because of miserly weakness and ignorance, there is a sort of pain in the heart, there is a sort of uncomfort, and clearly Arjuna is expressing that I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. He is telling, let alone this kingdom, even if I win unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like that of the demigods in heaven, avapya bhuma vasapatnam riddham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam, even if I get the heavenly kingdom, I will not be able to drive away this grief that has overcome me. So looking at Arjuna's condition, now Sanjaya is describing, Sanjaya vacha evam uktva hrishikesham gudakesha parantapaha न योत्सेति govindam uktva tushnim bhabuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. So, we can see Arjuna, Evamukto, Rishikesham, Gudakeshah, Parantapah. Arjuna was a Parantapa, he was chastiser of enemies. He was having all those abilities. But because of grief, he is now telling, Nayotsyeti Govindam, I will not fight. And then he fell silent. So looking at Arjuna, Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayor Madhye Vishidantam Vidam Vachaha. O descendant of Bharata, Dhritarashtra, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
So Arjuna has now submitted himself as the disciple of Lord Krishna, and Krishna is now smiling because a friend and a cousin has now become a disciple, and now Krishna will begin his divine instructions to enlighten Arjuna of the real facts of life. So let us see what happens in the next section. Hare Krishna.